Hi there guys, welcome back to another update from UK Reefer. Sorry it's been so long since I've done the last update guys. I've been so chocker with work, I just haven't had time to get the editing done. I have been doing the filming as I've been going though, so we've got some good footage for you. But as you can see from the video currently playing, we've just had so much growth and success in the last 2 to 3 months. I thought I'd best get the update up now before anything else happens or we do any more work to the tank, just so you can keep up to date with what's going on. As you can see from corals such as the purple stylophora and the green barley slimer and the pink hystrix especially, you can see that the growth over the last 2-3 months has really took off. And all I can really put that down to is stability. I've been having to up the doses obviously of the Red Sea foundation solution. So obviously dose the Red Sea calcium, magnesium and the alkalinity, and I mix up the powders myself. But alkalinity wise, we're now dosing 84 ml a day just to keep us at 8.3. The MG, we're still dosing 16 ml a day, and that's keeping us at a steady 1350. The calcium, we're dosing 10 ml a day, and that's keeping us at a steady 450, which is ideal. That's exactly where I want the parameters to be. That's actually been going really well. Where we've had a slight issue has been the Red Sea trace elements, the A, B, C and the D. With those elements, I've been dosing 1 ml of each, but I came down one day and I noticed that the big green plate that I've got, that I've been growing out for quite some time, was starting to lose flesh, and I literally blew it with a turkey baster and the flesh was literally coming off. So I was panicking, thinking, have I got Monty Poor eating nudibranch or some kind of pest that was doing the damage to it. So the first thing I did was I messaged two guys, two decent guys that I know. One of them was Christian. I'm going to go on and talk about him in a few future videos. And the first thing both of them said, without knowing what each other had said, was they felt that it was an iodine deficiency rather than actually a pest. Now, obviously, I'm dosing 1 ml of each of the trace solutions from Red Sea out of the Coral Colours programme. And I've always been a little bit sceptical just because you're obviously kind of blanket dosing a lot of elements based off your calcium uptake. Now, I've always felt, am I going to be overdosing some elements? Am I going to be underdosing some elements? Depending on what the corals are going to be taking in. So the first thing I did after speaking to them was I did a Triton ICP test. I did that test and I sent it off, and thankfully Triton are now doing the ICP testing in the UK. So I literally sent it off, and 3 to 4 days later I had the results back, which was brilliant. Now obviously on logging into my account and looking at the results, straight away it said I'd got an iodine deficiency. It was saying it was too low. Now it was saying for starters to dose 2.11 ml of iodine, and then as a daily dose to keep up with the uptake from my tank, a further 0.21 mils a day. Now obviously I can't just go and dose that from the Red Sea trace colours, because there's more than just iodine in that trace bottle. There's a lot more elements. So all I did was I went over to Triton and I grabbed a bottle of Triton's iodine, and I've been dosing that. Now, if you look at the plate, you can see there's 2 parts there that clearly died off, and that's where the flesh was literally stripping off. But since I've started doing it and I've upped the iodine levels, it's been absolutely fine. It's really started to come back. The other thing I noticed was there was a small bit of plate on a piece of rock from the old tank that I thought had just died off. But since dosing the extra iodine, even that has started to come back and has actually started to colour up green again. So on the next update, I'll do a quick video of that just so you can see the change in that from before. As you can see, Triton are quite good in the sense that they give you help with what to dose based on what your system is low on. And they've basically said that I'm low on boron, bromine, manganese and nickel, which kind of confirmed to me about the Red Sea Trace Element program. Being that blanket dose, you're kind of going off your calcium uptake, but your corals might not actually, and your system might not actually be using all of the elements as you're dosing them, because you're just kind of doing it off your calcium uptake. So I am going to keep an eye on that now with Triton ICPs, whether I do that once a month or once every other month, because they are quite expensive, and see how we get on. But I am going to document that so you can see what we're doing to get the water as bang on as we can possibly get it, to give the corals the best chance they've got at colouring up and growing. As you can see, we've also added a few other corals since that last update. So obviously looking at that green plate image there, you can see that I've also got some like orangey red plate. That was given to me actually by a good friend, Kyle, lives just around the corner from me. So he's given me a few bits. I've also added a nice pink acro colony. The polyps on that are just constantly out, as you can see. That's been doing really well. And I've also picked up a strawberry shortcake, a small frag of strawberry shortcake, which is there. Now, when I first bought that, the polyps were all out on it. It was great, but it was just all browned out, whether it had just come into the LFS or I'm not too sure. But I'd say after about a month to 6 weeks of adding it, it really started to colour up. And you can't really tell from there, but on the other side of that frag, that is basically in the light, it's just all green and pink. You can just about see the pink tips on the end of it. But I am going to invest in a macro lens to try and get some better images of this kind of stuff. So when I've got that, I will get you some better images and to show you the colour that we're getting out of that frag now, which is going really well. Fish-wise, I don't know if you've noticed it, but we have actually added a cleaner wrasse, because obviously we've got the tangs in here, so I've added one of those. And to be honest with you, since I've had him, I don't think I'd run a tank now without one. He's such a character, and literally every morning all of the fish, I mean, it took them a couple of days to get used to it, but now they'll just line up in the morning and all get a good clean from him. The yellow tang and the regal will constantly just kind of hover in a position during the day at different points, and they'll get a good clean off him. So he's been a really good addition. And I don't know if you've seen them, but I've got a couple of red spot cardinals. You can hardly see them, to be honest with you. That's another reason why I need the macro lens for doing smaller stuff. So once I've got that, I will get some good videos of those. The only issue I have found, I actually bought 5 of them, and I've now only got 2 of them left. Now, I found one of them on top of the lid. I've got like a small 5mm gap going around the edge of the tank where the lid meets the glass. There's a small gap. And one of them had clearly jumped, got through that gap and landed on the mesh lid. So he died. And the other 2, I've never found them. So whether the boxer shrimp got hold of them, because during the night I have found that they do go into the rocks and start hunting for stuff. So whether the boxer shrimp got them, or maybe they jumped and my dogs had them, I'm not too sure. They could have even gone through the weir comb and gone into the weir. I've looked, but I just can't see them. So whether I get any more of those, I don't know. I might look at doing something with the lid before that. I don't know. But other than that, all the fish stock are doing really well. The only problem I have had is my yellow tang has got quite aggressive at night, especially with the regal. Now, I'm not sure if it's because all of the fish tend to go into the rock work at night to sleep, and that yellow tang just sees the rock as he's grazing ground for food, and he gets quite aggressive, or what, I'm not too sure, but it's only really at night that it's doing it. So, fingers crossed, it sorts itself out and it just stops. If not, I might have to look at rehoming the yellow tang if it gets any more aggressive, because the last thing I want it to do is kill any fish. But I'd hate to lose him because obviously he adds so much colour to this system. If we now go into the cabinet and the sump, you'll see that we have actually added a new skimmer, and we've decided to go for the Deltec 1000i, with the head cleaner. Now, the reason I got rid of the Curve 7 was because one morning I came down and I could hear like a hissing noise, couldn't work out what it was, and then I noticed a dripping coming from the bottom of the tank, of the sump. Now obviously straight away I panicked thinking the sump was leaking. I opened the door, and what had actually happened was, for whatever reason, the Curve 7 skimmer had just started overflowing. All the cup was overflowing. It was spraying water over the sides, which was going onto the door, and then dripping down onto the floor. So I took it all out, took it all apart, cleaned it all out, put it back together again, and it just never worked the same after I'd done it. Some days it would skim perfect and it was bang on. Then other days it would underskim and I couldn't get it to reach the neck of the cup, and I just couldn't work out what was going on. So I had been thinking about moving to a Deltec because a few friends of mine had said, look, if you're going with SPS and you're going to go with some high-end SPS, do yourself a favour, get yourself a really decent skimmer. So I did. I spoke to Chris at Complete Aquatics, and he sorted me out with a Deltec 1000i. And to be honest with you, it's been absolutely fantastic. I was fully expecting it to have to break in for a week or two. But in all honesty, it came pre-assembled. I added it to the sump, and it started skimming straight away. There was no break-in period or nothing. I've been really, really impressed with it. I really like the fact that it's got the hose, the drain hose, so you've no longer got to take the cup out as much. I've got the CSM head, so I can clean the inside of the neck with the head, which is even better. I don't really have to touch it now, so it's been fantastic. Now, I have actually done an unboxing video that I am going to release, so you can see all the gadgets and features that it's got on it. But yeah, so far so good with that. It's going really well. On top of that, as you'll know from the last video, I was looking at why the Refugium's not really taking off. Now again, I had a good chat with Chris at Complete Aquatics, and he was basically saying, which made perfect sense actually, because I'm dosing Nopox to keep the nitrates and the phosphates down, there's no real nutrients there for the Refugium to grow and excel. So what I decided to do was I decided to lower my carbon dosing through the Nopox. So I think I was dosing 4 to 5 mil a day. I've lowered that down slowly but surely. I didn't do it in one drastic jump. I did it by half a mil every couple of weeks. And I'm now only at 2.5 mil a day of Nopox. But as you can see, my Refugium has just exploded with life. The growth has been insane. It's really nice and green. And as you can probably see, which is again why I need a macro lens, the pods in there and the amphipods and the bugs that are all growing in there are just thriving. So I'm hoping that if I'm possibly going to be able to keep lowering the Nopox. I don't want to completely back off it because it's a nice fail-safe to have. So if the Refugium ever failed and died, I am still dosing the Nopox, so my system's not going to have like a massive nutrient growth. So I am going to keep the Nopox, but yeah, backing off, like Chris said, has actually done the trick, and it's worked really well. By doing that, my nitrate is holding at 10 parts per million, which is great. I think that's why I'm getting some decent colour. And my phosphate is at 0.03, which was also confirmed from the Triton ICP. So I couldn't be happier with that, to be honest. That has been going really well. I'm hoping that by keep dropping the Nopox by half a mil every couple of weeks or so, the Refugium will just keep growing and the nitrates will hold at 10 with a bit of luck. The main reason for me doing this video was obviously mainly to get a decent update across to you all. But we've also come away on holiday to Bournemouth for a week, so I just wanted to film getting the tank all prepped and ready for going on holiday. Thankfully, I've got a really good neighbour that looks after the fish for me while I'm gone. But I have tried to automate it as much as I can to give her less jobs to do. So I've obviously got the Tunzi Nano Osmolator ATO that does a really good job. But I have been noticing I've been going through probably 30 to 40 litres of RO water a week just through evaporation on this tank. So I did get a 50 litre container for that, so that'll last easily a week to a week and a half, so she won't have to bother with that. I also bought an Eheim auto feeder to fill with some dry food because I wanted to try and feed the fish more regularly rather than just once a day. I've decided to do that by trialling the Aquaforest dry food range, mainly because it comes in such an extensive range of different foods. So in the next video, I'll go through each of those foods that I'm testing at the moment, and I'm literally just putting 1 spoon of each into the auto feeder, and that's feeding my fish 3 times a day. I'm probably going to leave it there, guys, but I'm going to leave you with a few shots of the Red Sea 425 and how it's going, so you can see for yourselves all of the growth and how well everything's going. But hopefully next week or the week after, we will be launching that video showing the maintenance schedule that we do for this system. But as you can see, I've also finished off and fitted the cabinet unit. I've done the video, I've just got to finish editing it, along with an unboxing of the Deltec 1000i skimmer. So keep your eyes peeled for that coming, guys. Sorry I've not been quicker on getting these updates on here. But thanks again for watching. If you like the videos and if you like the channel and you want to see future updates, obviously hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. If you've got any comments, place them in the comments below and I'll happily get back to you. But I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks again, guys.